Welcome to Bet Doctor Brisvegas edition. I'm your host, Scoot. We've got Walt in studio with me. We've nearly had a, I don't know what you call it, little set malfunction here. My sausage dog's nearly brought down the set, humping his blanket. So that's a first. How are you, mate?
That was the best thing that's happened in here since I've been coming here, so I can't believe you stopped it, to be honest. But,
crikey. Doomben 10,000 this weekend, the rough habit. So a bit of a pathway to the Queensland derby as well, and a bit of a bonus set, a couple of tips at Scone. GK, you're with us. How are you coping with all this wet and wild weather?
Yeah, I've got the snorkel and the flippers out, but hopefully, we can avoid most of it on Saturday, and hopefully the track will play pretty fair, and lots of good horses going around, so really good meeting.
Yeah, it's nice to head back to Brisbane after it was cats and dogs last week at the Gold Coast. It's just the luck that they just had no luck at all, the Gold Coast, for any of their feature meetings. It feels like for the last probably 3 years, and it was Armageddon again. They didn't even get through the last race, but Antino was such a big winner. You and I half liked it. There was a bit of a query stepping up from that 1400 to the 1800, but wow, blew him away, and it was the Shin of Old there, and Bazusto was the other good one. I'd be very wary, GK, taking anything from that meeting. Lots of reports of horses pulled up with plenty of mud in the lungs and coughing their guts up the next day. So there's a big asterisk on a few of those, or anything in behind anyway.
Yeah, look, it's just one of these meetings, which is becoming, a pretty common theme up here, that you've just got to be really forgiving on, these tracks. We've seen a few meetings like this where it's been shifty, where there's been kickback. So, look, it pays to be forgiving. There's horses you can take out of the meeting that performed really well against the bias. Some of them are pretty straightforward and obvious, but I think there's also a few hidden runs that you can spot as well.
It looks like it's going to be 9 mil Friday and then 2 mil Saturday, so I'm tipping they've gone pretty easy. Doomben's been pretty well soaked through, and the corner's a little bit of a worry for me. There's just been some horses that just can't accelerate through that corner turn, so be interested to see how the track pattern plays. So either up and rolling is good, but you sort of think there might be a bit of an advantage for horses off speed, and there's a couple of races that look like they're going to go helter-skelter anyway, GK.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think just the patterns that we've seen at Doomben, and, I went back and had a good look at this meeting last year, and it was probably similar conditions. Maybe there's a little bit more rain this time, but, we just saw that the inside is just not the place to be, and that midfield is a really good place, and, just being able to get to the middle of the track is where you want to be. So I don't think you want to be necessarily negative on horses that are going forward, because it's still Doomben, but I think you want to be able to get to the middle of the track. So I think middle to outside draws, being able to be midfield in run is the happy place. That's my A spot at present, but still race shape and tempo important.
Yeah, we're going to have our eyes peeled, because probably going into the last month, and I think I said it on one of the early episodes, that Doomben was the track in in need of a big rest, and then we've seen how much Eagle Farm has been carved up by this weather. So hopefully it races well, but make sure you're checking out races 1 and 2 to get a concrete idea of it, because you could just see early on at the Gold Coast last week that it was definitely an inside advantage and on speed there at the Gold Coast last week. Today's show we're going to cover race 3, and then we're going to do 5 and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll make sure we get the quaddie leg. There was another interesting thing. They cancelled the quaddie last week, and they had to pay out across the dividends of live tickets, because they only got 3 of the legs through, Walt.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, which is a bit of a bugger.
Yeah.
But there's not much you can do. You sort of have to cop it sweet as punters.
They were lucky. I think the riders were happy to go home after race 4, so they were lucky to get through as much as they did, right? I think, because otherwise it would have been 4 group races at Ipswich.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
It seems like if you got a wet tracker, it's pretty hard at the moment, isn't it? They seem to be calling them off a lot
especially
more.
Rain in day. So at least this rain at the moment is predicted to hose down Friday night, basically Saturday early morning, hopefully during the day, no rain. Because it seems to be as soon as any rain falls on these tracks at the moment, it just turns into carnage, which, I don't know why. You keep harping on Hong Kong. They cop 40 mils and it's a 5, so... But it is what it is.
All right, so yeah, we're going to cover a fair bit of the Doomben card, Scone Cup Friday, and there's the Denise's Joy Stakes, which looks like an absolute belter on Saturday. So we're going to talk about that one. Puntingform.com.au is how I do my form, so I can go from Scone, Doomben, Flemington. I've got my punting form logins, and I've got access to one of the best databases on the planet. So make sure you check it out and give it a go. And the guys there have got lots of tutorials, so you can understand it as well. Let's have a look at race 3 firstly. And it's the Impressive Plate over 13.50. Odds here, $3 Pisces, J-Mac for James Cummings. Good luck to me, $4.20. Elmore Zillow, $5. Cosmos and Taurus, $10. So Naive, $16. A Punter, $17. Parada's Gem, $20 and $21. And Miss Bustlinger. GK has done this race and will play Elmore Zillow's last start in the Victory Stakes. And there it is, the grey. I think this is probably the pin-up horse of the show, you'd think, because we seem to tip it every time it goes round, or one of us finds it, GK.
Yeah, look, it's it's a horse with a lot of ability and has shown a lot so far in its career. Look, it just was slowly away here, and yeah, look, just had no luck really, no chance. Look, thought it was more than acceptable through the line here, getting past a few there late. Couldn't do more than what it did there, and now we land in this race going up in trip to 13.50. And the main dangers, Pisces and Good Luck to me, I'm just not sold on their setups here. Multiple runs around this distance range. I think they've both had 2 or 3 runs at 1400. I think they could potentially be looking for further. And I think there's an argument that maybe this is just a bit of a transition run for them before they head somewhere else, maybe to the mile. So, look, I think that this is a good setup for Elmore Zillow, and I just don't think the rest of them have the ability of these top 3 in the market. So happy to play Elmore Zillow here at about $5.
Oh, yeah, I am one of the biggest cheerleaders of Elmore Zillow, and if I think that was a trial and a setup run from Kelly Schweider, yeah, I definitely think can win the race. Yeah, have to be forgiving because I thought she was entitled to do a little bit more down the outside, although it was a pretty shifty track. What are your takes on some of these Sydney horses, Walt? Obviously, Pisces last start. Good luck to me. It seems to be open up way too short, and I've got a bit of a query around it.
Comes out of a good race, Pisces. That Media World form's going to hold up. It's just an honest horse. Gate 3 McDonald, that's the problem, isn't it? He just always finds that extra length, whereas Elmore Zillow just keeps getting set tasks, doesn't it? That's why the straight sort of helped it that day. That's the problem, just where it gets to big rider upgrade for sure. But Collett, it can be, you can get that extra length or 2 further back on horses. You don't want to do that unless he's given other instructions. He's a very good rider, actually. He can get out of the gates and lead on them. But, these sorts of horses, you can set them a task, get a bit, rely on the horse a bit more than tactics. So that's probably the worry, that definitely Pisces has got the advantage in run, position in run. That'd be my biggest worry, but it's certainly no superstar, Pisces.
Yeah, that's the query for me. J-Mac, yeah, I think they're the 2 horses I'd work around, Elmore Zillow and Pisces, but I sort of want to see the track and pattern. I just don't think the market has missed it, but definitely no knock on Elmore Zillow, especially around the sort of $5 free bet. I'd probably lean that way if forced to bet, but I can sort of get GK's point. Back up to Queensland, it seems like a little bit of an afterthought. But hopefully J-Mac offsets that for GK. Let's have a look at race 5 because this is an absolute corker, this one. We've got Gallo Nero up the top of the market. It's at $4.80. Beskar is $5. United States $8. Grafter Burners $9. Navy Pilot $9.50. And then you got Cool Archie $10. And then Talk to Be Sure $11. Let's have a look at a trial of Gallo Nero. It was pretty good. It's only beaten 2 lengths in the 2-year-old Magic Millions, and here it is in the Cole McKenna colours, the blue with the green, the white cap, and sort of has to weave its way through this trial. And although under a little bit of riding, it sort of picks up nicely here, Walt.
It's good to see that it was ridden out, I thought. I wanted to see what was under the hood, and at least you got to see it here. And it's never a horse that's it's not push button, I wouldn't say, but it sort of builds, which is the sort of horse hidden in race. And then you see Beskar whipping home there too, who's probably going to start in the betting too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's second favourite,
I think
$5.
that trial's very important. it was interesting. They sort of kept Beskar back for this, whether it found a really nice race a couple of weeks ago, and there was no issue. They just scratched it waiting for this, so they think it's a high-level horse. So both Beskar's probably got a little bit of fitness side, whereas Gallinero's probably a little bit vulnerable here fitness-wise, but drier the better, I'd say, for both of them.
And United States is the other horse that we're going to have a look at, and we'll have a look at him in the Pago. Gets beaten 4 lengths here behind Skyhook, and just like the way he sort of finished off down the inside of the track here, and pretty negative ride early, purple, white sleeves, and
had a car crash but prep, didn't he? He was the one, poor old McAvoy dragged him out, then got caught wide, went forward, nothing happened, then I think this was the start after that. So his whole prep was a bit of a car crash live.
Yeah, he's got barrier 9 here, so he's probably going to be in a bit of a sticky situation, but if it's run on, he's definitely a horse that will appreciate the wet ground. And my only query with him, GK, is non-Waller Grand Final. If this horse has been earmarked for the JJ Atkins, maybe it's a quiet run here, backs up into the sides, and then third up JJ Atkins. That's my query, and he's been soft in early betting, which may indicate he's going to be really negatively ridden. He might be the eye catcher. What do you think?
Look, I thought it also trialled well, and I kind of similar to Gallo Nero. I liked that J-Mac really pushed it out to the line in the recent trial, so that was good to see. I just think it's about prices here, where, look, I've got Gallo Nero and United States on top. I just think United States is probably the value at the early prices. I can't get Beskar anywhere near this price. I don't understand how Beskar is $5. Maybe there's big wraps on it, there's big spruik on it, but yeah, I don't have it anywhere near this price. And then when I look at the rest of the field, Cool Archie, Talk to Be Sure, look, they're horses that I like. I think that they're in the race. Are they valued right now? Probably not. And then Navy Pilot is another horse that I really like as well, but I just don't know about it on this track. So, look, I've got Gallo Nero and United States on top at the moment, but yeah, look, pattern and what the track is like by this time of the day is going to be important.
The other horse that will be on the radar, a few people, is Grafter Burners. I'll sort of take him back. I was on track that day at the Gold Coast Jewel meeting, and there was nothing in the race, but wow, as a type and just so deep into his preparation, I think he kicked off his career at the Gold Coast and Ipswich on wet tracks. This is a horse by Graf who will love the wet deck. I thought he was good behind Rivellino. He's still learning. Green has some drama in the barriers, but gee, he's a nice type, and he sort of struck me as a real good racehorse. What do you think of Grafter Burners?
I backed him to win out in the English race, that day, and Hippo running a 73 dead ends. Yeah, he's got ability. This is a deep race, though. I actually think there's even, like, I think Kilman can win the JJ Atkins, so I think he can win this race. It's 20-1, I think, isn't it? Bit similar to what you said with United States, whether it's not suited here, but at least you're getting a price. Farnicle, I think, goes really well. It's 15-1 and drawn wide. It'll head forward and box on, and I think Namaste goes pretty well as well. They both trialled. Well, there's a couple more trialled together. Yeah, it's a Beskar, I think, is the horse that's it's got that run behind, a high sort of level horse. Has had the run of the belt. Looks like a 1,200 metre horse to me. It doesn't look like a JJ Atkins horse, I think. So probably that's why it's
bit short.
Well, anchored in the market a little bit. Obviously, that stable's pretty well fancied too. So I agree that it's tight-ish, but I don't think it's going to drift too much because of its setup, and it's probably closer to a grand final here than the others that we've all mentioned. They're all probably got bigger things in store. Yeah, I just think it's a really deep race. I'd probably end up, again, pattern is tricky, but I sort of 10, 11, 13, Namaste, Kilman, Farnicle, I think can all run races at big odds here.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. It's more of a watch and learn race for me rather than get too tangled up in it. But probably need to go back and have a little bit more of a look at that interference from Beskar's last start behind North England, because I think Walt's point is pretty pertinent there. 1,200 metre grand final, who is it? And it's probably Beskar's grand final, so something further to consider there. Let's start having a look at the quaddy leagues here, and it's race 6, and really interesting horse here with Sir Delius, ex-French horse, now in the hands of Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. Tim Clark goes up to ride. grade. $2.60 favourite in this. And then Immediacy, looked like the perfect placement until the frog walks into town or marches into town. $3.40. Caboche, $9. Floating, $12. Manzois, $13. Allegron, $18. And then $20 in Coda, and much, much better the rest. Sedelius, let's have a look at its 2 trials. Its first trial was on a good 4, and this is Major Beal outside him and just sort of pips him. So you've got Sedelius leading in the purple cap, and then Major Beal just sort of runs him down late. But I think
Sedelius outside the leader.
Yeah.
Major Beal's in front.
Sorry.
Yep.
The other way around here. But so that was on a good 4. And the second trial is on a heavy 8. So he's running the arc. Got beaten 8 there. Run a big race, won a couple in a row over in France, around the sort of the 2,000, 2,400 metre range. What are you expecting here, Walt, with your stable knowledge?
Yeah, so very, very, very high quality animal. Obviously, always have a query over him first run here, blah, blah, blah. But it's had 3 trials. So he's sort of settled in, done everything right. Whether he needs a little bit further, ideally in a run under his belt, no doubt that he'll definitely strip fitter and all that. But, class-wise, I think it'll take him a long way. If the rain comes, does it help him or hurt him? It's an interesting one. Probably, something in the soft range is ideal for him. And you'd expect him to go extreme. It would probably hurt Immediacy as much as it would help him too. So I think if you've got Immediacy as the main threat, then probably 7 range would play right into Sedelius' hands, and I think it's going to be very, very, very hard to beat.
Yeah, that's the trick with Immediacy. He's put a couple of good wins together the last 2 starts. He was super first up behind Exanudo, which was pretty hot form at the time, and here it is in the Aussie Kahir colours, the blue with the spots, and they ran pretty good time here, and that it
was a very slow run race, and they come home quick, so their bunch margins aren't that scary because of that. Yeah.
So I think 2,000 is his absolute sweet spot, this horse, and it would have been an error, I think, to stretch him out to 2,400. They would have been licking their lips, and then up pumps this import. But yeah, I echo your thoughts. On a soft 5, I'd lean Immediacy's way, but once you sort of get into the 6s and the 7s, and heaven forbid if it got to the heavy 8 stage, there's no way in the world that I want to be on Immediacy, even though he's a Tarzino. What are your thoughts here, GK?
Very much in the camp of Sedelius. Look, I've priced this fairly conservatively, I think, and I've got it $2.30, and that's just first up, testing ground, a few question marks there, but I just trust this stable. I just trust this stable to get them right first up, to go off those 3 trials, Tim going on, and I just think it's just going to be right there. Like, it could be, I don't know, potentially OSL, 1 out, 1 back, just going to be in the right spot. And look, I think it's just got a lot of class, and I think it deserves to be a pretty firm favourite. If I'd seen a run, or if the ground probably wasn't going to be in the heavy range, I could probably have this into odds on. So look, I think it's a bet at around $2.50, $2.60 or whatever it is now.
Balls of Steel is going to steam in, and there's just not much quality of the race. You got Manzois sort of bouncing back into form. There's just nothing there.
I laughed. There was I listened to some European expert today. He's just, I just really hope this horse is ridden cold and let to find the line. At his first run, like, man.
Dream on,
man. Have you never seen one run ever from this stable? He's going to suck me in if it's heavy, don't you? He's sucked me in every start it's ever had in its life, and no, Jay's not on it.
Manzois?
No, Strathday.
Strathday.
Trip. If it's heavy, I'll be on it. I don't care.
It was the horse, but they've put Ron Stewart.
Can you believe it? They've taken old mate off it, and they've found Ronnie Stewart. And it's going to be last again.
Because prior to its last start, the horse was completely airborne. But yeah, Ron Stewart's probably one of the biggest throws off. So
I could not handle if it beat me. If I chimed into the favourite, which I probably have something on it. I won't be chiming heavily, but and it came and sooled down the outside and shafted me, that would be straight in the river. So yeah, you got to have something on it.
I can see why you like it, but yeah, it's the biggest cooler ever, Ronnie Stewart.
Yeah, but just why? What was their hate for this horse? It's like Waller hates the horse with a passion. It's like drag it out. It's got this. It runs like, it kills me. You'd think I know he does a lot of good things with a lot of his horses, but this one just seems to have wasted so many opportunities.
Zach Waddick, Zach Lloyd, Ford, Ron Stewart.
And out the back.
Do stables give up on horses?
Well, how can you give up on it? It's like it's run like far lap every start, except for he said one or two, and even then it was set monster task. So it's not as if it's been in the doldrums. It's just not been given its opportunity to win, basically ever.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing too. The Sydney Cup was a breakneck speed, so you can forgive half the field. It was the first time they'd probably seen 3,200, a lot of those horses, and they went something like 20 or 17 or 15 above to the 600. So you can forgive anything that's failed there.
That was Timmy, wasn't it? That was Timmy. Blame Timmy.
All right. Yeah, well, if you're in, I'm in. So you're going to suck me in. So Sir Delis is the play here. It's obvious grand final will be QE22.
Will be for this prep. I think it's definitely been bought for the Melbourne Cup in the Melbourne Cup only. But I think it'll have a limited prep, and then we're a little freshen or something like that, and then I'm sure they'll have bigger aspirations for it.
It's good, isn't it? Without a fight, just provides that pathway.
Yeah, it definitely works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's and I think it doesn't hurt them coming up here.
Get out of that winter
weather's
cold.
been pretty average. It's definitely better than hanging around down in the Melbourne or Sydney most of the time at this time of year.
Beautiful. All right, Sedelius is the tip there, and then the saver and the mental health bet is Strathtay, and then immediacy. If it still gets wetter and wetter and wetter, its price will drift heavily, so you might want to keep tabs on that one, even if you're going against us and you want to back immediacy. Just hold out and make sure you get the track conditions there. Race 7 is the next one. It's the Bright Shadow. It's over 1,100 metres. It's a listed race, so you've got fillies and mares chasing Black Tie Pier in flight, $4.20, Kin $5, Navy on the highway $6.50. Looks a real target race for it. Tiger Shark $9, App and Girl $10. Left field $11, Mighty $14, Liquor $16, Midnight in Tokyo $16, Miss Hellfire $19, and much better the rest. Couple that we're going to have a look at here. Some triggering fuel for you. Here's Kin in the Godolphin colours.
White cap cutting back.
Yeah, decides to cut back instead of go outside and around in flight. Cost at the race?
I don't know, but I was happy because it was on Dragonstone. So, yeah, it was old Schumacher, wasn't it? I don't know. It didn't have a bad run throughout, but she had the perfect run to sort of follow in flight and get off its heels and come to the outside. So I don't know whether the horse hung or what, but it's always been a little tricky horse, Kin, hasn't it? But it's, J-Mac goes on Saturday, doesn't he?
Get back, love wet. And any cut out of the track's a bonus. The other horse we're going to have a look at here is Appen Girl, and it's trialled well, but here it is in the sort of the, it's not quite cerise, it's the pink and sort of yellowy colours, and gets a little bit of a hip and shoulder.
There's 6 horses in this race with pink and yellowy colours. Can we narrow it down?
Second widest.
I got it coming
with
out
the
now.
yellow hat, but Abounding gave it a bit of a hip and shoulder, and I thought she did really well to sort of pick herself up. And this is back in November. You got Party for One. You got Abounding, and then you got Bubba's Bay, and she's a bomb fresh horse, this one. And as soon as the prices went up for this, I thought, $8, $9, sort of $10 seems to be the first bet I want to have. Again, finds Regan Bayliss for the horse, which is a bit of a worry.
The only other thing I noted is it trialled 3 times first up before it ran first up and won last time, and only one trial here. But they did sort of bang it out, and just sort of wet 1,100 off one trial was a little bit of a query for me, but.
Definitely the first horse that I wanted to
interesting.
back.
I spent a lot of time on it because it does have the right form if it's ready to go.
GK?
Look, I've backed Appen Girl. I've always had question marks over this thing at 1,200. I've always thought that sort of 1,000, 1,100 is more the go, and it has an electric turn of foot. I guess the question is just the track. You think maybe on breeding it's going to be okay, but I like where it's drawn. There's good tempo in this race. As you said, it's a bomb fresh. Look, I think it's right in this race. And the other one that I've backed is Left Field. Look, its price is almost halved since last night. Look, I think it's right in this race. I really hope that they do come here and don't go to Scone. It's got form on bottomless tracks, draws right there, good tempo. I can see Left Field, Appen Girl bombing late. So, look, I think they're right in the race. I want to take on that Hawkesbury form. I just don't think Kin and In Flight are any stars or anything like that. And I think they're vulnerable here.
up in the weights, Kin and In Flight both carrying 58 kilos. So you've got left field with only 53, and then App and Girls 56 kilos. Walt, what do you think of left field?
It's the horse I found, actually. Yeah. I agree. I don't think In Flight's any start. It's just that super solid, honest, but no start. It's going to get the right run again. It won't be far away, but it doesn't really have a killer blow. So if anything goes wrong or anything's sort of got a bit of ability, and I thought it trialled really well. Left field, and Shuey does go aboard, but it's a bit of a one-dimensional horse. It'll get back, and hopefully she'll pull it to the outside, and if that's the place to be, I think the horse will run really well. I think it went missing a bit last prep because it's. I think you sort of if you put it down to a bad prep, it definitely showed better ability than what it got to last prep, and I think it trialled better this time in. So happy to, and I was a little bit surprised to see it sort of $10, $12, whatever it is. So. Yeah, it's the horse I'd probably take a risk on if playing this race, but it's another very tricky sort of race, isn't it? But there is good pressure, and if it's down the outside, I'd be happy to be with it and probably save on your App and Girl. I think at around 10 to 1's the right mark to be playing in this race.
What do you think about Navy on the Highway?
I wasn't worried. I was sure about the weather. Wet's okay. I don't know. It was a... I don't know. It sort of profiles well. It's got 1,400 metre form, hasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's only got a couple lengths.
It can definitely be strong. I'd probably rather back it than sort of Kin and whatever. I think Midnight in Tokyo, they just always put it up short because it's got the wet form. But it was weird to see no trial. That stable normally trials. I'm sure it's had a jump out or something, but that stable normally loves trialling them 37 times. So I'm not sure what the story is there, but she's always been a bit quirky. I'm happy to be around her. So it's probably third pick, Navy on the Highway.
What do you think? Just too much pace up in front might bring her undone. GK Navy on the Highway.
Potentially. Look, I just I've always had a few little knocks on this thing. I love this horse, but I think that the wraps have got a little bit too big from that run in Sydney, where there was on the inside in a biased track behind Belclair and others. And I think some people probably didn't realise how impossible it was to make ground that day, and they've sort of extrapolated from that race way too much. And I just think that the target for Navy on the Highway is the Tiara. Like that I think is where Muncie will go with this thing. Look, I do think this is a better race for it than First Up, and you've just got to forgive 1,000 metres First Up at Eagle Farm. Like it's just a graveyard a lot of the time. So I think this is a better race for it, but I do want to bet around it based on the tempo and I think the expected race shape here.
All right, some sort of agreement there with left field, the best roughie, and then App and Girl also in the mix. So a couple of bombers, and hopefully they just don't get too far back. I think that's going to be the big query with left field. 2 negative Rachel, which probably a good booking, and then Reginator if he gets too far out of its ground. Best Ride might win out of those two. Race 8 is a Group 1 Doomben 10,000 time-honoured race. This one, it's an absolute beauty this time in, and Overpass got the frequent flyers up, and good old Uncle Bjorn has just been big drift. That's 368 to 550. The new favourite Sunshine in Paris, Walt's pin-up horse, J-Mac on. Surprise, surprise. Punters all over it. 440 Sunshine in Paris. 550 Overpass. Benedetta 550. Schwartz $7. Jetabil 10. Marzu 12. Lady Laguna $16. And you got Hidden Wealth 20. And then Rothfire 31. Golden Mile 31. As is Zarastro and Libertad. Belclair's there also. And then you got also like V8 at $35. So interesting scenario there. Let's have a look at Benedetta and Sunshine in Paris here. I've got a couple of theories here, Walt. You got Sunshine in Paris sort of out in front of it, sort of sooling along there. Couple of questions for you. 1,400 metres Sunshine in Paris. Does she really run it? Benedetta, same question. Benedetta, she's now drawn wide draw. I'm saying that Benedetta doesn't like to be inside horses. So I got you hit with 3 there.
I think Benedetta doesn't like to be in front of him at the finish. That's the only thing I think about Benedetta. But and I don't think Sunshine in Paris 1,400 is ideal. I think if she found the right mare's race, like I think she won one early. I remember ages ago, we've loved her all the way. I think she won a 3-year-old fillies race over 1,400, but she was exposed with 100 to go. I think it was a really good ride. I think she's definitely a 1,200 metre sort of specialist if you had to put her in a category. Obviously, just the way the draw and the way the track's racing, but does have a interesting jockey engagement, but I think that's why the price is what it is too. So you've copped it in that you probably would have got $8 or $9 with a different rider, but I don't know. What do you want? Do you want $8 or $9 with someone else, or probably $5.50, $6 maybe if you're lucky with J-Mac, yeah.
The Victory Stakes is the other replay we're going to have a look at here. This is Golden Mile. You got Jedabeel in this one, and I think you nailed this race, Walt, with Jedabeel. Looks like he's going to win, and then just doesn't quite see out the trip. You got horses like a Boundings
Especially
in
not
there.
getting past Liberty. Like, I feel sick. I'm not even joking. Like,
About
far
Libertad?
out. You're going to run straight. But if you're going to run straight past a horse, you're going to run past Libertad, aren't you? And Jesus, like, it's absolutely painful. I do. That's the sickest of sick beats.
And there's Golden Mile running into third there. Thoughts on the both form races, GK?
Look, I've been pretty vocal that I think Benedetta would have beaten Sunshine and Paris home in the all-aged if it didn't cop that interference. And I think if you look at the previous run of Benedetta, that race at the Valley, it was another biased track where Schwartz won. What was it? The Australia Stakes or whatever. It was hard to make ground. William Reid, sorry. Hard to make ground. Biased towards the rail. I think on a fair track, Benedetta beats Schwartz there. So, according to my narrative, Benedetta beats Sunshine in Paris last time, and it beats Schwartz the start prior to that. So I think Benedetta is the main bet in the race, and I think that the track is going to suit. I love where it's drawn. I think it's going to be really well set up here. I like the noise coming out of the stable that, they've really set it to peak here in Brisbane. I did have something on Schwartz early in all-in markets, mainly because I thought Overpass was too short. I think I'm going to save Sunshine in Paris, and that's going to be my main bets in the race. I've got a bit of a knock on the Victory Stakes form. It was a shifty track, and some of them could really bounce out of it and improve. But look, it wasn't a race that rated all too well. And then we saw Libertad and Jedabeel get up the inside, and look, I was also on Jedabeel, and I think Robbie Dolan claimed it after the line. I knew that he didn't get it. I could tell, but look, I just don't know about that Victory Stakes form. I just don't think it stacks up to the Group 1 form coming out of Sydney. So I really want to sort of pin myself to the mast of the all-aged form and be with Benedetta, Sunshine in Paris. And then look, I already took the all-in price Schwartz and play the race that way.
I've only had one bet here. I think I took $7.50 or $8. Can't even remember Benedetta, and for similar reasons. I thought her run was the best in the William Reid. I thought she doesn't run 1400 anywhere near as good, and the fact that she was getting so close to the heels of Sunshine in Paris just only got me more excited for this horse. So the other thing I went through her form, she actually races really well deep into a prep Benedetta and loves any cut out of the track. So I think that's the advantage for her with 1200 wet deck and Sunshine in Paris. I'm probably hoping, and I guess I don't find J-Mac too much, but I just hope he gets lost from barrier 13 and Benedetta hopefully is just sort of off and gone and gets through that wet, sticky track because, it's, as I said earlier in the show, the Doomben turn is only seeing certain horses accelerate through that sticky patch around the corner, and hopefully Benedetta is the one that sort of flies through. And in my mind, I'm sort of picturing the track to be not so much, fall apart like Moonee Valley on William Reid Day, but it's going to be sticky and it's going to be a little bit wet. So I think Benedetta is the play for me. You want to say anything else, or you done?
They look the two opes. They look, if the track's swoopy, they look the only two opes, really. Yeah. They've got so much on the other. No, they don't have so much on horse like Overpass, but he's got that weird pattern where he does, like, I'm not a big believer in horses don't go second up, but he dead set, his head falls off second up, doesn't he, Overpass? But usually he gets a little bit of a break into the next run, and this time he's had to travel from Perth up over to here, sort of quicker turnaround. There's quite a bit of pressure up front, so it doesn't really bode well for him. I don't think either of the mares want heavy, so it's going to be interesting. They probably want 5 or 6 at the worst, and then a swoopy track. So I'd be happy to sort of wait, and then if conditions are suiting, I think one of them will win, one of the two. I can't see anything else winning the race.
You don't mind a bit of a Twitter argy-bargy with old Joe Pride. What about his horse Marzu? He was out there cock-a-hoot tweeting because of the weather.
Well, I think Rachel will do a good job on the one before. I don't think she suits Marzu.
We might have to clip that up for the tweet just for
It's
Joey
a weird
Pride.
one. She doesn't normally ride for that crew, so I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's drawn a little awkward. It's drawn outside of a lot of the speed, so it's going to need a good ride. I'm not saying she's not capable of it. I'm 100% she can get it home, but I don't think it suits it. But it is the horse. If it is a 10, it's absolutely perfectly set up, and I think it comes out of a stronger race than the Jetabil race, so it's probably third or fourth pick.
GK?
Look, I liked that last run, but yeah, look, I think the shape of the race doesn't suit at all. And I mean, how many birthdays does Mazu get? Like, it's won about $10 million. Like, does it get another one? Like, I can't see it here. Like, I think
it was 2 years between birthdays too. I think last time it hadn't had one for a while.
Well, it deserved to miss one. I mean, it had multiple birthdays in the same year prior to that. So, look, I think when you look at its form over sort of the last 18 months, when it gets to this level, it's usually a length or two just below the best ones. And I can sort of see that happening again.
Marzo probably, it was his birthday last week at the Gold Coast and just they got the party and the dates mixed up. So I think that's the problem.
Yep.
Bottomless only, but good luck to Joe Pride. He was full of beans through the week on the tweet. Good to see the trainers actually popping their head up and giving some opinion.
Well, it can't be fun going to work every day at the moment at Warwick Farm and not knowing whether you're going to have to relocate for the next 15 years. It's going to be interesting.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is fascinating. It is fascinating because they don't seem to worry about consulting with such people prior to announcing.
It's just crazy, isn't it?
Anyway, whatever.
Doomben Race 9 is a Rough Habit Plate, Group 3, 2,000 metres. Let's have a look at the odds. More Sydney form here. Sydney Invasion of Brisvegas. Firm Agreement, $4.50. Belle de Tel, $5. Shangri-La Spring, $5.50. King of Thunder, $5.50. Maison Louis, $9. In from 10. Beau Dazzler, $11. Our Benefactor, $16. Mightn't have been to bed yet, Our Benefactor. Liberty Park, $21. Real Class, 23, and then Croupier 27. Let's have a look at a couple of key form races here. Firm Agreement and King of Thunder. This isn't the heavy 8. This is the Tulloch. This is the meeting that got switched around and they had to run it on a Monday or a Tuesday because of all the wet weather. And you got King of Thunder in the blue and white, sort of
coming down the
whacking
outside,
away down the outside, and then you got Firm Agreement in the red, sort of weaving and then sort of just zooming late. And Treasure the Moment's the winner of the race, but I thought Firm Agreement went good here.
Yeah, they went quick in this one, didn't they? This is the one where they went super quick, then the Oaks, they went super slow. So, maybe it was a little bit flattered. Maybe that's what it wants, a fast tempo and that sort of thing. Maybe it's sort of more of a derby sort of horse. But, again, if the conditions fall that way and it's a bit of a slog, it's probably the horse you want in your corner because the other horse coming down the outside is dead set a whacker.
Yeah, complete whacker. And this is the Queensland Guineas, GK. This is Shangri-La Spring. You got the... Well, talk us through
Depth
this.
of character already ran out of it, didn't it?
Depth of character there. Our Benefactor's a nice little run in behind them. Beau Dazzler, here he is, picking up in the green with the light green sleeves. GK?
Yeah, Beau Dazzler, the way he sort of comes through the middle of the pack there. And look, this horse just is proven on bottomless tracks. Like, if this gets to a 10, this thing just sort of skips across the top of the surface. I definitely don't think it has the class of the Sydney horses, but it is definitely in this race if we get to that bottomless range, because we know it will handle the ground. Like, it has really put some gaps through the fields in the past when it's got on rain affected tracks. So I think it is a key runner here, and it's just my early read of the market. Like, I really do respect all that Sydney form, but boy, they're taking up a lot of market percentage. Like, those four Sydney horses, like, they're taking up 80% of the market right now, which I think is, I just think that's too much. So yeah, look, I think Beau Dazzler is definitely right in this race. I have had something on it early, and I've also backed one other early at an even bigger price, which is Liberty Park.
This is an interesting one with Liberty Park. It was in a little bit slower run race in, I think it was the first race of the day. It's sort of in behind them on the rail in the aqua with the yellow sleeves and doesn't have much luck to sort of get clear air there. And then you got a horse like Piraeus over the mile, who was pretty well set up to peak there. And Croupier's the Kiwi horse in the green with the red cap along the fence. So out of the two, you'd think Croupier's got not much chance versus a horse like Liberty Park, who was absolutely flying, but just not sure if that's a rung below, or we're going to see a different beast back out to 2,000 GK.
Yeah, look, I think that definitely is a run below that race, but it was one of those runs where I think it was a bit of a stepping stone run to get back towards this program heading towards the Derby. So I thought it was super encouraging the way it finished the race off there, and now getting back to this program, getting back to 2,000 meters. I think it's a real positive, and my read of the Kiwi form before it got over here was that soft tracks, no issues. Ocean Park. I think it's a knockout at a big price here, and it's definitely going to be in my quaddie.
So GK going to hunt wide there with Bo Dazzler at $12 and then 23 Liberty Park. For me, I think Firm Agreement will be put into the race. What you didn't see in that Tulloch replay is they absolutely necked the horse because they knew they were going to run him in the Derby on the backup with that delayed campaign. And Firm Agreement, I thought, the prep before was absolutely super, and I think he's just got a good turn of foot. So if it can sit sort of midfield, Firm Agreement, Tyler Schiller, I think the $4.60 is a great price. I thought it'd come up sort of closer to $3. So just Shangri-La Spring, probably not enough guts to it. I've got a bit of a query on a couple of those other horses at sort of this 2,000 metre range. And as Walt said, King of Thunder, it looks like it's ready for Warrnambool already. It's probably my best bet of the day, I'd say, at Brisbane. Firm Agreement gets a decent ride and not too negative. And if they don't neck it for the Derby, I think $4.60 is a real good price.
Yeah, I got greyed up by having a conversation where yesterday, unfortunately, where they said Shangri-La Spring is absolutely airborne and has improved out of sight since that run, which has really annoyed me. Yeah, because obviously Gay's back in distance and whatever, but it didn't finish the race off at all there, didn't it? It was as if it got outsprinted. It looked really weak, but yeah, they assure me sort of back on track, which really greys me up. But yeah, Belle de Tell with that 5 weeks between runs is weird one. I don't really like it. I don't, like I said, that Piraeus, I understand stepping stone for, but that Piraeus has got beaten in half a dozen midway, so that would scare me out of that being a deal. I'm kind of with you. I do think the top two are the right horses, and I'll probably get sucked into our benefactor again from a better draw with Callow going on it. Certainly a rider that's a lot stronger can sort of, if he just bumped out and was on Shangri-La Springs back in the run, which I think he could definitely be, he can run a race at 15-1 or whatever, especially if he's hasn't been out the night before, like you said. If he hasn't been out partying, he could be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think I tipped him up as a bit of a black booker on last week's show. I thought his run was super. So, yeah, Firm Agreement will be my major bet, and then the cover-up mental health bet will be our benefactor. But that was the strange one through the week, GK. The first up 1,400-metre race it got disqualified from. When I was doing the form, I'm like, oh, there was a win there, and then it's got the disqualification. So something to do with the stable and some drugs in its system.
I haven't even read that. So I've just been, head down looking at sectionals. So I've missed that one.
It can't have been too significant. It was a $2,000 fine, and he lost the race. You have to lose the race. I have to be disqualified, but only a $2,000. It can't have been much in it.
Yeah, bit of fairy dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny game, racing. At Brizzy Form Guide is where you can find more of GK stuff. He sent out a couple of free tweets early in the week, which is good. So if you want to join his Discord channel, make sure you slide into his DMs, and he may permit you to be in the chat there. But it's going to be a fantastic card at Brisbane. And fingers crossed, if they get the 7 mil Friday and then none during the day, it's got a really good chance of drying up, and hopefully we get maybe a soft 5 or 6 at worst, and the Carnival can kick back into gear, because it's been very wet and very unlucky at this stage for the Queensland Carnival, and hopefully we can get the next bit of the Carnival off without any further delay. Well, let's have a quick look at a couple down at Scone, and the first one is on Friday, so it's a 2-day carnival. The fields look deep. Looks like it's going to be great betting. So head to the Racing Watch channel if you want, racingwatch.com.au, if you want all the Walt's analysis. He'll be very busy for the next 48 hours.
They're all 20 runners. Oh my God.
Yeah, I reckon it's a good scenario for you. You work
It's
best
not
when you got
ideal.
your back to the wall, you're under pressure, you're under the pump, and you got big, deep fields. This is beautiful for you. There's
Yeah.
just value to be had
It
everywhere.
goes one way or the other.
Hey?
Goes one way or the other. We'll see.
I'm
Look at that
saying-
horse. He can't win.
I'm saying...
I'll run nude to Sydney if it wins.
Which one?
Know Thyself.
Yeah. Oh, you've just got back from
Oh,
your
sorry.
run.
I thought we were on repeat. I had deja vu.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the Scone Cup, because I like the race, and I think that the favourite is too short, and GK might want to fight me here. And
GK would have had a full-blown roar at about the 600 last start when it was just travelling a deluxe.
great winner last week at Gosford, Know Thyself at $2.45, heads the market. Then you got West of Africa, somewhat in the abyss at $7, but you'd think the Scone track, if it's ever going to win a race, the big roomy track will be there. But I think the jury's out. I used to love that horse, but not sure. Tarvey Time is $8.50, and then you got $11 about Amenable. It's another horse that's sort of in the abyss. You got Ducasse, $13. You got Green Fly, $15. It's an absolute wet tracker. That's what it's chasing. Major Beal saw its trial just before. A bit of a failure last start on the heavy. And then you got Port Lockroy at $16, desperate for some dry ground. So will Annabelle go north to Brisbane for the wet, or will they go to the dry track at Scone? It's anyone's guess. Let's have a look at the horse I found for the race, and it is Tabby Time. It's there in the blue with the pink. It's Chris Lees. I love Chris Lees as a bit of a pattern trainer set up. Here he is third up. The real reason I like this horse is it hates the wet, and I just didn't think it was entitled to be in the finish, and just kept whacking away. Wheels are sort of spinning. He's sort of resenting it there, like being in and around horses, but the weather forecast to me looks completely different. I think it was a soft 5. They're not going to get a big splash of rain, but I thought he's just really weighted so well here, 56.5 kilos, sort of got $9 or $10 versus a horse like Know Thyself. You got to take $2.45 about it, Walt. You got West of Africa, $7. Just don't think it's the same horse. Amenable sort of in that boat. I could sort of make a bit of a case for Ducasse. Greenfly wants it wetter. Port Lockroy is dangerous if it's dry, if they go there. And it's just a race with sort of more questions rather than answers. And even Grabini's really well weighted at $23. Like, I just thought it was an easy bet to have. Tabby Time, J Ford, $10. Tell me why I'm so wrong.
An easy bet to have J Ford. So I'm just going to clip that
Price
up.
point.
I'm not going to worry about what price or anything. I'm just going to clip that up. It's an easy bet to have J Ford.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Back to
yeah, it's interesting. This Know Thyself, that was its best win the last start, and it travelled and
Who?
Know Thyself. Yeah, I keep thinking it's going to be sort of come more one pace, and it was sort of an even tempo last start, but it did a lot. It sort of raced more tractably and everything. It's hard. Can't knock it. Obviously, the price is tight. I agree. Tarvey Time's ready to go. The perfect draw should get the perfect sit. I agree that a lot of these horses are in the doldrums. You're Amenable. Ducasse even has been very steady. Greenfly does need it wet and is probably going to be last. So you just wait to see. It needs the forecast to be wrong. Port Lockroy's in the abyss. Mighty Ulysses in the abyss. Major Beal's been in the abyss for a long time. And then you're getting to big prices. So yeah, I agree. Taffy Time's fair, $8-9. That's well and truly fair. I think Grabini's a huge price. I think Bank Moore's a huge price. Set outside the leader first up, first time as a gelding, and only won narrowly. But that run's only going to help it. It does have to sort of roll forward from 15, but I don't think that is a big issue.
Kyle's the right rider for that.
Yeah,
he just bashes them out.
Bang it out, and it's a big price. And even sort of floating, it's in a couple of places too. Could bob up at 25-1 as well. So yeah, I probably lose on the race if Tabby Time wins. It goes in the quaddie this time because it destroyed my Saturday last week when I didn't have it in the quaddie. But yeah,
Know Thyself.
Know Thyself. But I think but I think there's more value in Bankmore, Grabini, and like you said, Tabby Time probably is certainly the right price. They're the three horses I'd definitely be making winners. And then if floating goes around, I wouldn't let it beat me at sort of 25-30-1 either.
GK, you love the horse, Know Thyself. So tell us why it's a moral.
I'm not going to do that. I haven't done the race, and just looking at the race, this looks harder than last week. So it looks a bit skinny price wise. So I probably would just bank the money from last week. I had a question. Isn't this a qualifier for something? So I was just like, is it the big dance or the little dance or the barn dance or the line dance or one of those rubbish pop-up races?
It could be the Macarena or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
The $7 million Macarena.
Yeah,
I'd say it's a big dance qualifier. I would imagine that would make sense, wouldn't it? I think of all of the dances, it would make the most sense.
I don't know what it is.
A mile, yeah, it would be, because that's probably why they're running it on the Friday. I think, because I don't think it can. Yeah, there's all sorts of weird conditions, but yeah, and they would love Massara would love to qualify this horse for that race. That's probably why they've backed it up into it. It's had a bit of a weird prep.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, hopefully there's something left of the horse.
Yeah, because obviously
big effort, Gosford back.
Yeah,
back up.
Whether they just keep as he's going, they just keep finding targets for him or what it is. But he's a big, strong bugger. I don't think he's going to run out of gas. I think if anything, he'd be sort of get more one paced.
Oh, well, it's a race that I'll be betting up in, and I'm happy to do my Chimenda if it wins at $2.50.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same.
Yeah, I just got these. These are my sort of goes in life. Yeah. All right, let's have a look at another cracker on Saturday at Scone. It's race 7. It's the Coolmort Denise's Joy Stakes over 1,100 metres. And Soft Love's come up favourite here, $3.80. Gerringong, $6.50. Thames is $6.50 in from 8. Amelita, $9. Photograph, 11. Shahisha, 13. And then you got Sunrise, 13. Wave Breaker, 14. Duck Egg Blue, 23. Couple of replays we're going to have a look at. The first one is at Caulfield, and it's Matt Laurie. It's in the Yulon colours with the black cap, and this horse just goes like an absolute rocket. Had to sort of get around off heels. Last, 250 metres here. Just clicks up, rev engine, and just goes sort of bang here. Just love the way this horse travels, extends. I don't really throw these sort of comments out often, but she looks like a Group 1 runner to my eye, especially with the drying track. I think she's going to take a world of beating, but in walks Walt with another classy horse, Photograph, in the Godolphin colours here, and was really classy, albeit on a wet deck.
It was, and Tatoka's sort of was given a sore back in behind it coming down the outside. They probably both need rain and they both coming off this was a really testing track, and Photograph was first up, Tatoka was second up. So, a little bit of a query, they could be a bit flat too, but I just thought that was the other form in the race. My issue with Soft Love is gate 1, coming back this way, and why you would... I get it a little bit, because I guess a lot of the top line riders are in Brisbane, so it would have been harder, but she's sending Harry Coffey. He might be a good rider to Scone for the first time. Is a little bit dicey, and gate 1's not easy to navigate there a lot. The fence can go very bad, and you definitely want to get that left-hand blinker on, not the right hand. So, by race 7, it'll probably be pretty obvious. So maybe they'll work it out. But I agree with you that Soft Love looks potentially one out of the box, and a horse that I'd like to find in the right race. And I definitely don't want to knock it. I think Gerringong didn't trial electric. I haven't sort of asked any questions there. I'm not a big fan of Thames. I think Amelita's sort of drawn awkward, got a lot against it. I think Shahisha's very dangerous. I thought it trialled well, and I think the stable's sneaky flying. So sort of Photograph, Shahisha, and who was the other horse? It was
Soft Love.
Tatoka. They sort of go quaddie, but I play your horse definitely is the best way. If the fairer the track is, the better a thing your horse is. It just needs that inside section not to be dark, you know what I mean? Not to be coming 7 or 8 off, because sort of deep into the second day it's going there. Sometimes they could be coming sort of middle of the track and...
Bit scary.
Yeah, but it's sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it? If she's got enough on them, usually it means that they open up and they start going everywhere. Yeah. So, I'm very interested to see how it performs, because I agree with you. I think she could just be one out of the box, and maybe she's just good enough to overcome everything. Yeah, even if she's 6 weeks between runs.
The reason they've taken Harry up there is because it's Harry's horse.
Literally? Because he's ridden it before. Horse. So, like you say, if it's someone's
Ethan's horse, Harry's
horse. Canted the horse, it's their horse, I understand. There's a lot of owners in a lot of the horses around the place for you. But if you've ridden Randwick and whatever, a lot of those places, but just when you go to a little sort of Scone or something like that, I'd nearly prefer they found an Ash Morgan or something, that ride the place all the time. But, I'm sure he's well and truly capable of getting the job done.
It's Harry's horse. You know about this, GK. Certain riders have horses, and this is Harry's.
Oh, they certainly do. They do up here, that's for sure. You can't get them off even when they pull in an absolute shocker. Yeah, they're attached to it. They're welded to it. So yeah, yeah.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, go on, mate.
Sometimes I just wonder whether, owners or trainers even think about changing the rider, like, based on performance or anything. It doesn't appear to be the case.
He can't really set this horse much more of a task than he set it in its 3 runs to date. That's the good thing. And that's the funny thing about you saying, that's what, right. And that's it. It's been last and widest every start, and even there, so he was still sort of trying to swerve off their heels with 200 to go, and was still good enough to run away from them with what looked like reserves of energy. So, it looks a pretty special horse in the making. And geez, Yulong again, hey, they're every time you look up, they're going to be a frightening force in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I'll be having lots of multis that end with soft love, and it'll be very hard love.
It'll be hard love or soft love, one way or the other. Be Rexy in the curtains.
Is the plan Tiara for this thing? Like that's just interesting.
Wouldn't shock me. I think she's got that much ability, but
it seems like a good idea. You knock off a stakes race and then keep heading north.
But don't they have the what was the race? Clean Energy. There's that 1,200 metre backup plan if she doesn't quite get there.
Oh, there's plenty of races.
There's a really good fillies race there on that last day anyway, or the second last day.
That's 2-year-olds. That's a 2-year-old race.
It?
Yeah. That's I can't remember. They changed the name of it last year, but it's the one that last year it was Lady Shenandoah and Energy. They came out of the Warwick Farm Maiden.
Right. Yeah, I've got that confused. But, it wouldn't shock me if she goes into a Tats Tiara, but, that might come up a little bit hot, the Tats Tiara, with horses like Komochi.
Funny part being that there's so much more depth to the mares, isn't it? Doesn't matter what the distance is, 3-year-olds, 2-year-olds, it seems like the mares are the ones, and it's fairly logical, isn't it, when we sell them all or we retire them. So I wonder how that works out. But, the mares are normally a bit deeper than the Colts and Geldings at the moment.
Racingwatch.com.au is where you'll find John's stuff, so make sure...
I got one more.
What?
I got one more.
Scone.
I think Lonrose Queen can run a race in race 6 at 20 to 1. That's all.
On Saturday?
Yeah, it was just given an absolute shocker at Hawkesbury, and win for. She's trained on track. I think she loves the joint. Any rain would help her, and just I think she's just forgotten at 20 to 1. There's not much in there that's I think can be dominant. So I'll be having something small on her. There's plenty of speed. There's probably a couple of scratching. Passagiata and Zealously, and that hopefully be up front and punching along, and she can on her home deck be stooling down the outside if that's a pattern at a big price.
Wow. So barrier 13, Cam Crockett, $21. Donovan Dillon. Sounds like
he's a nightmare, but I think Cam's, he's under the threat of death to not produce any more shockers. So I think Cam will be there with a big stick and tell him exactly what to do.
He was probably on Boogie Nights, wasn't he? Dirk Diggler, Donovan Dillon. Sounds like a bit of a porn star.
Mate, how come we go gay at the end of every show lately? What's going on? Last week you've got 16 different reviews of KY Jelly, and now we're on to Dirk Diggler and Studio 54.
Just interesting. Just rider that hasn't really come on my radar, given I don't fish around the provincial sort of country.
It's best if he doesn't come on your radar, is my experience. But I think he knows this horse well enough, and it should pretty much write its own script back in midfield and wide and come wider, and hopefully that's the place to be.
What's wrong with Tanglewood Anaropa claiming 2?
They're all just honest horses. I just think this is a silly price. In comparison, there's definitely a bunch of chances in the race.
Zealously, yeah.
There's definitely a bunch of chances, but I just think she was forgotten, and hopefully left field's not in there, so there'll be deductions too. We'll just wait and see. But yeah, she's a bit of a sneaky nice horse, Lonrose Queen.
Beautiful. All right, racingwatch.com.au for more Walt stuff. GK, will you be out there signing autographs at Doomben? You going to go out there and have a look at the races?
No, they'll have to come to my house, and I'll roll out the red carpet and give them a few canapes and all of that. But no, not out there this weekend. I will be out once we get back to Eagle Farm for Derby Day.
Oh. It is that extra. You got to cross the road. I get it. I see why he's not going. It's
too far.
It's an extra 50 metres.
Oh, it is funny. But that said, thank Christ, when there was that talk of selling one of the tracks that they didn't, because they're just trying to get through the carnival, and you need lots of decent tracks to try and get through it because of the weather.
And they're all pretty good tracks up here, and they're still struggling heavy, aren't they? So, exactly.
Got to keep it.
A lost track would be a diabolical thing at the moment.
And that's, as you said the other day, the best thing about Rose Hill is that it's predictable for punters, and it carries the second highest turnover of any track in New South Wales, and that's just forgotten or just ignored.
It's not going to be replicated. Well, it's
crazy.
It's complete mad unless there's a reason for it, genuine reason that the sort of life or death, and it's not just a pie in the sky. Oh, but the wagering's in decline and we need a war chest. Why would it even be contemplated? It just feels it feels like something out of the castle, doesn't it? It just feels wrong. It feels like there's more to it. It feels like it's a long plan that's been executed and maybe is not going the way that a few people thought it would. Get a little bit harder to get through than maybe they predicted, and they're throwing the kitchen sink at trying to get it through for a reason.
He'd make a pretty good character on the castle, the captain up in New South Wales, wouldn't he?
No,
he'd just slot right in.
No one would believe it. No one would believe it. It would be no.
We'll be back next week for more action and hopefully get through a dry day on Saturday. But good luck if you're betting, and hit the boys up to get in their Discords, and good luck with your betting weekend.
Everything.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.